Good morning. Shall I call you JP or
You can call me JP. Thank you very much. Good morning to you too.
Good morning, thank you. Right. Let's begin by asking, we connected by talking about Microsoft Teams rooms in particular.
Yep.
Is there something that you think people don't quite understand or haven't quite got their head around in this area currently?
It's a good question because the world we have all moved to Microsoft Teams, right?
Yes.
And I think in Q3 last year they had over 300 million daily active users.
Yeah.
So like it or not, Microsoft has taken the desktop and the meeting rooms.
Yes.
And I think what a lot of people don't know is how you can actually bring Microsoft Teams into the more feature-rich, critical environments,
Yeah.
boardrooms, control rooms, and innovation centers, customer experience centers.
Right. What's the mental block there? Why do they think this, and what should they think?
I think traditionally these are more video conference, Cisco, Polyp, right? Historically, where you build an integration around. And the perception people have with Microsoft Teams is that it is something that I use on my desktop. I use it on my desk. And then after COVID, meeting rooms were also built with Microsoft Teams.
Yeah.
And I think Microsoft Teams out of the box doesn't necessarily deliver all the features that you want in a boardroom or control room. You need more AV technology around it to provide or build a good experience.
Without pitching necessarily, what would you need to make Microsoft Teams rooms really work in a control room or a boardroom?
I think control room is a nice place for a Microsoft Teams discussion, because having a proper integration with Microsoft Teams in the control room really enables the control room to operate in different ways.
Yeah.
Video conference in general is still new to some control rooms around the world, but making that leap over to Microsoft Teams for the right type of environments could really have great operational benefits. And then I'm not talking just about the operator sitting with headsets, talking one-to-one Microsoft Teams calls, or it can be Cisco calls, but put an example into Microsoft Teams. Having the ability for the entire control room to communicate our video conference out to people out in the field, other offices around the world. In the control room environments, we often talk about bringing the problem to the experts in the control room instead of experts out to the problem.
Right.
And Microsoft Teams is a great enabler for that.
Got it.
We all have it on our Microsoft. Everyone has it on their phones as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And Microsoft Teams is also taking over the phone market, right? A lot of companies are rolling out Microsoft phone systems.
Yes.
And of course, there are a lot of development around it as well. We talked a little bit earlier about Copilot and AI applications. And that's also an interesting conversation for control rooms. There's a lot of push behind Copilot at the moment. ChatGPT, we all know as consumers in a way.
Yes.
And how that technology creep and expectation of using those type of tools in a control room, for example, is a really interesting conversation that we are having with a lot of the control room customers that we have around the world at the moment.
Are they scared about their data going out into ChatGPT? Are there ways that you can deal with this?
That's one aspect, because a lot of the customers that we have are high security environments. We work a lot with Ministry of Defense, police organizations around the world, and they have their own guidelines for cloud-based applications. And I think a lot of in the secure environment, a lot of those conversations are around, we want A, B, and C, and then, other cloud-based applications, then we cannot necessarily use them.
And does that nervousness about cloud-based applications, does that apply in the critical environments? Does that apply to Microsoft Teams rooms too? Is that a concern?
I think so, because it's coming, and it's coming fast. And again, the end users in the organizations have the expectation that it should be available if I need it and if I want it, because you can use it on your desk. You can use it everywhere else. So one thing is what is technically possible. Other thing is what the end users, the consumers of the meeting rooms or the boardrooms or control rooms, what they want and can do, and are allowed to do.
So they want it. They want it, and you just need to find a way to make it permissible.
Well, that's not necessarily a Cyviz discussion on we build, but it's part of this unified communication building block that is now very important in control rooms in general.
What have you learnt by having expertise in both Teams rooms and this prior background in control rooms, in defence or oil or these other important places?
Innovation centers, we are working with some of the most interesting companies globally. We are fortunate to have Microsoft as a customer for the Microsoft Technology Centers globally.
Yeah.
And the way that we integrate Microsoft Teams into our solutions that are standardized and as a standardized offering that we sell to all customers globally, it's basically what we developed for Microsoft with Microsoft and how they integrate Microsoft Teams into the technology centers. Something that we can offer all our customers in control rooms or, for example, innovation centers or experience centers.
Got it.
I think the lessons learned are a few observations. One, it's not necessarily a technology discussion.
Right.
People think that it's a technology discussion, but the real challenge is to understand and identify the business objectives.
Got it.
In a control room, why are operators sitting in those operated desks or chairs? What applications are they going to work with, and how are they going to fit into the team that is working and consuming data together in the control room? Innovation centers, I think a really interesting observation there is the importance of, it's all about the wow factor in some of these environments. How can you actually build fantastic presentations that are not just dynamic and wow today, but can be developed over time depending on the requirement.
Okay.
And then you also have the multi-purpose aspect of these spaces, and that's probably more interesting for the innovation center conversation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of companies have invested a lot of money in very nice spaces, and they're not used. And that is coming from a technology company. It's sad to see, because these rooms should have 100% utilization. And I think
what's missing? Why are they not being used 100%? Why is this money being spent, but not getting that return with the experience?
I think there are a couple of things. One, user experience, if people find it easy to use.
Yeah.
If you are working in an organization and you're going to present in a customer experience center and you have a CEO from one of your largest customers coming in, you need to trust the technology.
And they don't trust it.
And if you have burnt your fingers, had a bad experience once, do you really want to take that meeting in that experience center the next time? And also, how easy are these environments and flexible, or how easy can they be changed into other things? Microsoft is a great example. They run fantastic customer presentations, also with a hybrid experience or just with people in the room. But they also use the same room for innovation processes.
Right.
So that multi-purpose part is an important part of the business scoping objective.
Got it.
In the beginning, understanding the business needs.
I think there was a presentation that you gave on how to future-proof a control room.
Yeah.
What are the key considerations there?
Interesting observation, and it's a good question, because every company that comes to us and say, hey, we want to build, or we need to build a control room, they can tell us how they are working today.
Yeah.
But really, investment in a control room, that's a long-term investment.
Yeah.
So you need to invest in something that can stay with you for at least 3, 5, 7, even 10 years in the public sector.
Yeah.
So being able to have a control room that can grow and adapt with you is very important. The journey starts when the control room goes live. That's when you start to see the operational benefits of having a control room.
Right.
And I think there are a couple of things you need to think about to achieve that. One, if you're buying something that is highly customized, it's expensive to change things. If you want a new video feed, if you need a new application to be implemented into a control room, if it's a very expensive thing to do, a difficult thing to do, people tend not to do it.
Yeah.
So I think at least our approach in Cyviz is a standardized approach and really give flexibility to the customers so they can do these changes themselves. And control rooms typically have critical decisions to make.
Yeah.
If information is needed, it's more or less needed within minutes and not in 2 weeks. And I think that is something that is changing in the control rooms. They're becoming much more dynamic, and they need a lot more flexibility for the operators and for the organization that they support.
Good. Okay. Well, I think those are the key issues that we've covered there. Do feel free when you're in a critical control room to call me on Microsoft Teams, and maybe we can continue the conversation there.
I will, because that is something, I think one of the biggest wow factors that I see when we invite potential customers into workshops in Cyviz Experience Centers, because we have control rooms in some of the Cyviz Experience Centers around the world with the native Microsoft Teams experience that we have in a Cyviz room. And when people see how Microsoft Teams can enable them to connect externally, it's something that people really, really see.
Good to hear that. Okay. Well, thank you, JP. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Cheers.